Qubaisi, who's here from the United Arab Emirates, and actually she is leading a delegation of female parliamentarians from the Emirates, and it's the first time ever that it was a delegation of all the female parliamentarians going abroad to a conference together. I think this also is a strong sign of how important and what the effect of this conference, I hope, can be. Please, you have the floor.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honourable members of the Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really honoured to be among all these elite leaders that gathers here today to discuss and work on further empowerment of the role and status of women all around the world in general, and in politics and leadership positions in particular. I would like also to express our sincere appreciation and gratitude for the organizers of Women in Parliament's Global Forum for giving us this opportunity to participate in such an important strategic global gathering such as this, and in particular in participating in concerning the reshaping of the societies through women's leadership panel. Women have changed. Leadership roles have changed. Organizational practices has changed. And the social culture has changed. The issue of leadership depends basically on merits and skills. Recent studies indicates that there is no critical difference between male and female leadership as it comes to the similar, if they hold similar skills and merits. However, female leadership always characterized by effectiveness, passion and compassion, participation, creativity, and delegation of authorities. But despite all that, any female advantage in leadership style might be offset by the disadvantage that flows from prejudice and discrimination against women when they are leaders. As we all know, women face a range of challenges to hold leadership positions. And when it comes to female leadership, she really needs to focus on giving females the chance to lead and empowering them to be leaders. And in order to achieve more female leadership, we have to concentrate on changing the stereotypes and past perceptions of women leadership in general. And to overcome this, we have to bear in mind the following as proposals. The states, political parties, and parliaments like yourselves, and parliamentarians should also be called of adopting legislative policies that would lead to closing the gender gap and gender equality. An integrated approach to the legal and legislative reform should be also adopted. Women's rights would not be adopted by law. A single law, we cannot say that we can depend on a single law to obtain a women's right. It's all of legal system in the country that should really rather ensure the rights of women. The leadership of each country, and here this is a very important, we have seen so many leadership and their direct effect on what they have done in their country for the empowerment of women. The leadership of each country and state should show its full commitment to women empowerment. And the prevailing and social and cultural also restrictions should be removed by education and awareness programs. A clear media policy also should be adopted and followed so that the impact on thoughts and trends regarding women leaders and being in the leadership position can be changed. In general, women participation in leading roles is the cornerstone in achieving the goals of development for any country. As women leadership, impact on the society is really enormous, and we can witness it everywhere. And it would lead to so many goodness. One of them is to promote gender equality in all political, economical, social fields, and would create a tremendous development returns. Another advantage also of that would be the participation and involvement of both genders in public life, and that would increase. And the level of corruption would decrease, which would lead in general to the rule of law and good governance. Wherever a woman rules, you will find good governance. Women economic liberation, which plays a great role also in promoting women participation in the process of the economic decision-making, as been mentioned earlier, would be achieved. Positively also, it will affect the educational level of women, and that would lead in itself to high development opportunities. A society reshaped by women leadership would enhance the level of well-being and would provide also a division of work between both genders, and that would increase in itself the family income. In general, this means an improved quality of life. In conclusion, I would like to highlight the UAE's experience in female leadership. At the beginning, when the country was established, we faced common challenges as many other different countries, mainly the prevailing social and cultural customs that we had and traditions. Also, the society perception of women as incapable of holding, positions, especially in the political field, and having leadership positions. The weak also awareness of women themselves of the significance of exercising their political rights and also participating in decision-making positions was also an obstacle. Despite all that, today, after all these years of facing and working on these challenges, the UAE succeeded in a very short time to be the first in the Arab world in closing the gender gap and gender equality. And that wasn't a coincidence. UAE women parliamentarians now represent 17.5%. We have women parliamentarians represent 17.5% of the Federal National Council, the parliament. We have 4 female ministers and 3 ambassadors, and more to come. The Emirati women occupy 66% of the government sector workforce, and they hold 30% of the senior leading positions in the government. The percentage of females in higher education in public universities is 72%, and also the rate of literacy is 98%. As for business sector, the total investments that are run by women are above 50 billion dirhams, and there are more and more achievements that I cannot list here, but those gains and achievements made by the UAE for women empowerment and access to leadership and decision-making positions are the result of UAE's leadership, government, and people, their faith in women, and their commitment to the women empowerment, and they worked hard on this. Beside that, the comprehensive vision we've had sponsored by the wise leadership of the UAE, it all have led to such achievements. The continuous efforts and care of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of the UAE, and Her Highness Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak, and the Chair of General Women's Union, Chair of Family Development Foundation, and Supreme Council of Childhood and Motherhood, it all have contributed to these achievements. Her pioneering as a woman, a female leader, her pioneering initiatives in leading the movement of women development and empowerment had great impact in closing the gender gap at the political, economic, and social level, and also the cultural, leading to the full empowerment of Emirati women. For me, and for all women in the UAE, she is our role model. And she is a great living example on a female leader who, her by herself, have managed and succeeded in reshaping the whole UAE society. So let me take this opportunity today and thank you again for managing and achieving to both all these women leaders together, and also men joining us, because we, as women, we have always to accredit a part of our success also to men. They are our partners and great supporters, whether they are on leadership positions or decision-making or whether they are humble, husbands or fathers or brothers. But with the will of women and her continuous commitment to more empowerment, I think that's what made us all here today, and that's what will make us the best representation and role models for young generations and more women to come into leadership positions and be, hopefully, in future better than us. Thank you all. Thank you.